Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here to celebrate our opening of the Unseen Ocean Collective's traveling exhibit. I'm Lara Bechmann. I'm a marine biologist at the University of Gothenburg. And my research focuses mostly on deep-sea ecosystems, specifically the diversity of corals and sponges. But I'm also asking questions: how do they live? How do they reproduce and survive in deep-sea habitats? And today I want to share a little bit of this hidden world with you and to tell you how this collective of me and the artists came together in the first place. But first, I want you to take a moment with me and imagine the ocean. Here in Newport, Oregon, you probably see it every day. And I want you to mentally travel with me from the shore, down through the water column, past from what you can see, all the way to the seafloor. Maybe you picture fish, jellyfish on the way down, maybe the currents. But what about the deep ocean seafloor? What pictures come into your mind? And I want to share with you how the deep sea can look like. This is a collection of videos taken from deep waters off America's coasts. You see here deep sea corals and sponges, and also some of the associated animals, like brittle stars here or crinoids. And they come in many different colors and shapes. When you think about corals, you probably don't think of them in deep sea and cold waters, but rather of tropical coral reefs. And yet these ones are just as important and diverse as their shallow water relatives. Corals and sponges build three-dimensional structures on the seafloor, with their large colonies and massive bodies creating homes. I like to compare it to a forest and the trees. If you go in an old-growth forest, you have a lot of diversity. You have insects, birds, or mammals, and there are a lot of places to hide or to rest, to find food or to find camouflage. And it's very similar to coral and sponge underwater forests. Just as trees, the animals provide habitat. That's why we call them ecosystem engineers, because they physically shape the world around them, making life possible for countless other creatures. But why should we care about the deep sea? The ocean covers over 80% of our planet, so the majority of our planet is ocean, and the deep sea alone makes up half of the Earth's surface. Imagine you could breathe underwater and fell from space on our Earth. You'd have a 50-50 chance of landing in the deep ocean. And once you hit the bottom, you'd be utterly lost, because even if you had a phone or GPS, we wouldn't have any map of it, because we haven't mapped most of the deep sea. We have better maps of Mount Everest or the moon than a lot of the deep sea areas on our own planet. And to put this into numbers, we have seen less than 0.001% of the deep sea. So what do I mean by deep sea? It's the part of the ocean where no sunlight reaches. The deepest point is around 36,000 feet, so you could put Mount Everest into it and still have a lot of water above its peak. That vast hidden space is the largest living area on Earth, and we are just beginning to explore and understand it. But the ocean is connected to our daily lives, even though we might not see it every day. So every second breath we take comes from the ocean. It feeds a lot of people. It regulates our climate and weather. Our daily lives are very much linked to the ocean's health. And that includes the deep sea as an integral part of our planet and the ocean. Since we're in Oregon now for this traveling exhibit, I want to show you some fascinating seascapes that you have just off your coast. Because right offshore, from where we stand tonight, the deep sea is full of really interesting features. For example, you have an active underwater volcano, the actual seamount, close to the Juan de Fuca Ridge, which is the straight line that you see here. And it's a very interesting geography with its rectangular shape that you see here. And it's actually very active. So there were 2 eruptions since early 2000s, and another eruption is predicted to occur this year. Closer to Oregon shore, we have the Astoria Canyon, about 800 meters deep, which has so-called methane seeps, places where methane gas bubbles come up through the seafloor. And it's a landscape just like a mountain range or a river valley, but underwater. And how do we scientists explore the deep ocean? So to give you an example, I will show you here a video by NOAA Ocean Exploration in 2023.
Pilot, this is video.
Go ahead.
What are you going to show me today?
So after a couple days of getting bounced around a little bit, we've kind of gone across the entirety of the Gulf, and now we're diving on a place that we're calling the Middleton Canyon.
We're about 2,200 meters depth.
Anything over 1,000 meters is largely unknown across this region. So this is an excellent opportunity for us to use our platform, ROV D2, or Deep Discovered. I've never seen a zoom like the one that D2 has.
These cameras give us a great 18 times zoom to be able to see these small details.
It's always important to capture these nice tight zooms. You can see all sorts of diagnostic features on these animals, and that can give us important information about what species it might be.
And so these ROVs are really important to explore and study the biology of deep sea habitats or environments. And in 2023, this expedition was going on, and I had the chance to work as a shore-based scientist for this expedition. And they used this ROV, which is almost as large as a SUV, and it's equipped with a lot of different sensors and cameras and sampling devices. And there, as you saw, there's like a whole team of scientists and engineers on that ship that work together to get the most out of this expedition. And the ROV cameras, they film in this really incredible quality nowadays. And we can see a lot of details, which are very important for species identification, for example. And I used these dives from that particular expedition to study the diversity of corals and sponges in this area. And I asked questions like, where are the different species distributed? What are the depth ranges, for example? What are potentially new species to science? And how do the environmental factors shape the communities? So I was looking at like oxygen or temperature, for example. For this work, I ended up analyzing over 75 hours of video and made over 15,000 observations. So that means I counted over 15,000 coral and sponge individuals, which is a lot. So it was really high densities in some areas. And we identified 74 different coral types. So we call this morphospecies, and even more sponges with over 90 morphospecies. And if you're curious and want to learn more about the science and what we found, you can also read the full study that has just been published recently by scanning this QR code here. And during my work on the videos, you can imagine me sitting in front of a screen, watching these amazing habitats just by myself. And I was thinking that I can't be the only one watching this, right? And especially this one location from that expedition got me really thinking. And I'm showing you here a video snippet of this. This is Uliaga Mound, which is a very dense coral and sponge garden or forest. And when I saw this on my screen, when I was annotating and analyzing the videos again, I realized that this beauty shouldn't just stay locked behind scientific papers and data. So obviously this is very important for scientists and future like management decisions or future work. But I wanted to share this diversity and also the beauty that I see, not just with the academic bubble. So that was when I decided to reach out to artists and creative people and bring these deep sea environments to the public using some other ways to communicate science. And I used this science art collaboration for that. And with this, the Unseen Ocean Collective was born approximately 1 or 2 years later. And since then, I've been working with Kierstin, Meghan, co-creating artworks and outreach materials. And I'm happy that we are able to share this work with you now in Oregon. Thank you so much for letting me take you down to the deep sea for a few minutes, and I hope you enjoy the exhibit.